Okay. So I'm pretty bad at making YouTube videos. So I'm gonna make this rambling video while streaming, uh, while I'm playing Halo 5 here. But I got inspired by doing this video from a YouTuber called, well, a speedrunning YouTuber. Or, well, he mainly streams on Twitch, but he made a YouTube video about his opinion, how he got into speedrunning and about speedrunning in general. I got inspired by doing something similar, so I'm gonna ramble about a little bit about myself and my Halo 5 career, I suppose you can call it, or my history. Um, so I guess there's no real point, solid point where I started with Halo speedrunning or the community. I wanted to first start off by, I guess I'd talk about a little bit how I got into speedrunning in general. So, the first ever encounter I had with Halo speedrunning, really, I guess that was the Guinness World Record book from 2007 about Cody Miller's record from Halo 2. Um, I know that video is actually fake. He spliced that run, but that's the first time I ever heard about Halo 5 speedrunning. No, Halo 2 speedrunning, I'm sorry. Um, but when I first encountered real speedrunning apart from that one, was back when I played a lot of Pokemon ROM hacks on my MacBook back then. And I suppose I somehow got into the YouTube recommended a video about one guy beating Halo, no, Pokemon Blue on under 2 hours. So that's how I got into speedrunning. I got kind of, oh, I'm playing Pokemon a lot, it takes, weeks to finish a Pokemon game, you train up a team of 6, but this guy, he just beats it really fast using fast strats and, picking one starter and just train it up, that's the fastest way, optimal routing, stuff like that. So that's how I got into speedrunning. I mean, I first heard of speedrunning. I didn't start to speedrun myself, but that's how I first heard about it. And after that, I saw some other speedrunning videos, and I was thinking to myself, wait, is there speedrunning for Halo? The game I played since childhood and still playing up until today. So that's how I found out about Halo speedrunning, because I googled it up, and the first speedrunning videos I saw about it, it was the old Halo Combat Evolved segmented run and the old Halo 2 segmented run. Well, I suppose it's not old, it's actually up to date. No one has done another Halo 2 segmented one, so I watched those two speedrunning videos. It was segmented, Halo 2 and Halo Combat Evolved. I like the commentary they did over it and stuff like that. I was, yeah, this is Sheila playing my little Pokemon emulator here on the side, watching while they, commentate over what they're doing on this little speedrun here. And later on, I suppose it just grew from there. My first ever speedrunning guy I watched on Twitch was a guy called, he's playing right now actually, Hockey Fan. He did Halo 2 Legendary PBs attempts, and I got hooked by watching that. I'm like, oh shit, people is speedrunning this Halo game. And I mainly was drawn to the legendary aspect. I never really truly was into the true form of speedrunning in that sense. I wanted to complete the game as fast as possible. I just wanted to do something no one else could do. That's what made a wow factor for speedrunning. So, although easy is objectively, faster because of different reasons, I didn't get into that perspective. I just wanted to do something no one else did, something wow factor, beating the game of Legendary, fast. It usually takes, weeks for casual playthrough to, beat through all the missions. But when I did it, when I saw these guys do it, within 1 hour, 2 hours, like, oh shoot. So that's what, I just wanted to watch it for that wow factor alone. So that's how I first got in contact with Halo speedrunning. Then it continued on from there. The biggest streamer I watched was the Royal Hobo. Back in 2014, that was when Master Chief Collection was out. He did a lot of Halo 4 mainly, that was his main game, but he did all the Halos on MCC, of course, which is 5 games, if you include ODST. So I watched him a lot, I was in his chat a lot, so that's how I got into the community, because he, that is when I started to know about haloruns.com, watch all those videos, stuff like that. But I was always, each day I was watching Hobo, I was in chat, I did a little bit of moderation in there, but keep in mind everyone was moderator in Hobo's chat, and everyone probably still is. But I keep watching him, and I remember he also did his 1 to 4 legendary runs. That was so fun to watch. He even did a race once with Pro as Joker Naked Eli. I remember that. That was really fun to watch. Although it took like 12 hours or something. Yeah. So I suppose I also did a few ILs here and there. My first one was like Outskirt on Halo 2 Legendary on MCC or something. Nothing serious, just did it because it would look like an easy mission to a speed run. I did even pleb strats for it. But nothing serious. When I started to get serious was about around 2016. 2006, no, 15, I'm sorry. 15, summer of 2015, I did Halo 4. And why I started to do Halo 4, well, I suppose I watched a lot of Hobo, so that was his main game. But it wasn't because of that. My main reason was because of I wanted to speedrun Halo 5 when that came out. A fresh game, I could start in ground zero with everyone else and, be good at something. So I started off by playing Halo 4. My mindset was like, okay, which game is gonna, prepare me the best for Halo 5? So I thought, well, it's probably Halo 4, right? It probably have the closest, physics and stuff like that. Although now it's kind of a different game completely, but that's what my mind said. I suppose I started by learning each ILs, and then I did a full game run of it. All legendary, of course. That's has always been my main focus. I still have that time up on Halo runs up until today. My first full game run of Halo 2 Legendary was 2 hours and 27 minutes of Halo 4. Not good, but I completed something. It was first no reset run. It's it's still faster than casual people would play it, or definitely faster than my casual run of it. So yeah, that's my very first speed run. And then the first sense of speedrunning of Halo 5 was actually back when now it's probably early November or something. When different YouTubers and streamers, I know Monopoly and Nick and Eli was one of them, that got they got a review copies, it's called, they got the copy earlier than everyone, but they were not allowed to stream the whole game or anything like that. No, they were allowed to play 3 missions to show off, and they were not allowed to spoil anything. But they were not allowed. They were only allowed to play Glassed, they were allowed to play Blue Team, and they were allowed to play Source of St. Helios. So obviously I watched those three missions a lot, like, oh yeah, what can you do? Mr. Monopoly, he did a little bit of, speed running attempt of Source of St. Helios or something, just, for the fun. Uh, and what I saw is on Glass, that's the mission I started off with. On Glass, I saw, well, you can shoot your reactor core, um, or engine, whatever you call it. When you get outside of Glass, you're supposed to clear off an area where Governor Sloan is, then Governor Sloan is supposed to open a gate for you, and open that gate would help you, continue on the mission. But what you could do is just shoot the reactor, and then you can get through that section without killing anything. So that was my first, like, oh shit, I want to speedrun this mission and just submit it, because I want to blaze through this mission. It looks easy. I want to do it. Let's go. So when I got the Halo 5 on release date, I remember I played it through on Legendary first. It took me like a good at least 8 hours or something. Got it on release at 12 o'clock. Played like 2 hours or something. Went to sleep. Woke up the other morning and like took another 6 hours to complete the whole game Legendary. There was a lot of hard parts, like Warden triple fight on release was super hard. Now we skip it. And then I started submitting that Glass IL. And I suppose I really did only Glass IL at the get-go. Uh, and that mission was kind of iconic for different reasons. Uh, but I guess I'm gonna continue talking about that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the runners I followed at the get-go on Halo 5 speedrunning. So the guys that was playing it first, first trying to do Legendary full game and stuff like that, that was a Royal Hobo, and it was a Pros Joker at the time, and then also Distro TV. Uh, those Hobo and Distro TV is gonna be my, I want to beat them so hard. When I first got into speedrunning of Halo 5. I watched through how Halo 5 got developed in speedrunning sense through watching these speedrunners. But I only really did one IL myself. The only IL I was, I suppose, decent at, and it was Glass. Um, Fairly early on, I remember one of the tricks how to get into skip one of the gates was you were supposed to tilt um, the warhog like this, and then you jump up on the warhog and skip the gate. That physics got patched, so you couldn't no longer tilt the warhog like that. So the trick got patched. And I remember that's when I first played 1.0. If you had a disc, I just reinstalled the game offline and played it on 1.0. I remember there was a little bit rumble around it, like, should this be allowed? Stuff like that. But of course, Halo 5 isn't the only game which plays at 1.0 for a lot of reasons. There's other Halo games, so obviously the community come to its senses and thought like, yeah, of course you're gonna allow this. Um, but yeah, that's when I started doing a little bit of 1.0 there, I suppose. Otherwise, I followed the Royal Hobo and District TV for full game runs for the first half a year of the Halo 5 speed running, and it grew so much. A lot of skip was found. It has this physics that just screams for speed run me. A lot of walls that doesn't exist and stuff like that. Like, yeah, please break this game down, beat it fast. I started to do a little bit more IL, stuff like that. I even remember I did my first full game of Halo 5, and it was about as fast as Halo 4, uh, like almost 2.5 hours or something. However, a big turning point was when Distro TV and Royal Hobo submitted to ESA. They wanted to race at ESA, European Speedrunning Assembly, which is a big speedrunning event, I suppose. Not as big as Amazing Game Done Quick, of course, but that's a big turning point for me. So when I heard about it, I wanted to meet them, and I think I'd help Distro with some with the Xbox. Like, oh yeah, you can borrow my Xbox. So he didn't want, did take the Xbox with him in the plane, so that would save him a little big buck. So he only took, uh, uh, you know, uh, one package with him, so he didn't have to pay extra for big luggage. So yeah, he could use my Xbox, and for me that was a huge honor because then I had also a reason to meet them up there, and I did go to ESA and met with them, and I got to meet them in real life, a Royal Hobo and Distro, which I looked up to so much. These guys is the guys I want to be when I grow up. Perhaps not grow up, but I want to be as good as they are. So I remember I raced a little bit against the Hobo once there, but he obviously beat me. It wasn't, he didn't even come too close. He obviously just crushed me. But it was fun to meet them in real life. They're really two nice guys, really. Um, and also, people look a little bit differently in real life than they do on the streams. I remember Hobo had a little bit more blonde hair-ish than brown. He looked like more brown hair at the in real life, more blonde in real life than brown in the stream. Um, and I suppose it was Distro and Hobo. They traded blows back and forth. Hobo did have the world record at the moment, but didn't have a recording for it. Um, uh, so he couldn't, record his record because he played on 1.0. You need to be offline. You can't stream through the Xbox app. But after the ESA event, Hobo goes black. He's not streaming. He got real life stuff like that. Studies and whatever it was. So it was then pretty much only Distro I watched. I watched him so much. I want to see him get the record back. Uh, so he did get the record back, and then it was like It was like 135 back then, and then he played for a little bit more, and then he also uh, played. Uh, he played the speedrunning and he met his goal. His goal back then was sub Halo 4, which is like 129, 128-ish. Uh, Something like that. I think it was sub 129 something. He wanted to get the time load in Halo 4. And I guess he just stopped there for a while. Like, yeah, I'm done here now. For now. I think he did some Donkey Kong emulating and Super Mario 69 ROM hacks and stuff like that. A little bit more casual stuff. But I still love this game. I still wanted to play it. I can't let it die like this. So I kept playing it. I trying to get PBs and stuff like that, and uh, and I suppose I got to the point where I actually got the record once. I was so surprised when I did get the record. Um, but I guess I wasn't there and I just felt like, okay, I can improve this. I gotta keep playing this. Um, I, but I never watched myself as, the number one. I always looked up to Distro. He always felt like number one. I just got a faster time, there's a difference there. Um, and I suppose we disregard back there for a time. We traded back and forth the record a few times, back and forth. Um, I had a lot of spare time at the moment, so I played a lot of uh, I played a lot of Halo 5, uh, but I also did a few ILs. But there comes a point when I hit 125, I had like a stone, like I couldn't play more. Like it was just, no, yeah, it just felt like a grind. Distro came back then. He wanted to go to Amazing Games Out quick then also. He wanted to show off that game. So he went for the record once again, and he got it. It was back then I got less time in real life. I was like, well, I'm gonna quit Halo 5 for now, but not Halo's speedrunning in general. So I went on my road to dethrone Hobo, and that was a good break, I suppose. It took like what 5 months or something to dethrone him. I was able to dethrone him in January, I think. It was after I played ODS. Right after ODST, I got the most points for HaloRuns.com, which was iconic for Royal Hobo. A streamer I watched and looked up for it for so long. It was my first real speedrunner I really watched after Hockey Fan. So I guess I dethroned him. I also had two more games I could have played, and I never finished off with Halo 4. I already had a little Halo 4 time up there, because I got back into Halo 5 again. I started to do ILs, started to get a few ILs, and then I did the full game for it again, but with fresh mindset. And one thing I don't think I mentioned, I think I mentioned it, but I haven't really pressed on it so much. The reason I am able to grind the way I'm doing is because, unlike a lot of speedrunners out there, um, I'm not listening to games audio at all. I am not even on Guardians anymore. I don't even have that sound cue on Guardians. So from Osiris till the end of Guardians, I'm not using listening to the game audio at all. No dialogue, no gig, no grenade audio, no nothing. Um, so I was uh, I have been able to grind so much because on the second screen, when I'm streaming, I'm usually watching either the news when I get home, like I think it's a 40 minutes recap of everything that's been done, or I'm watching anime or listening to music. That is the how I'm able to grind so much. Um, because when I reset Osiris or Blue Team, it's like, okay, that's a shame, but something fun is still happening on the second screen, so I am still able to grind. Um, and my chat isn't that super active either. I have a few people like creeps in every now and then, mostly from the community, and it's fun to talk to them. I'm usually posting this video if I'm into a conversation. But the trick to me being able to grind so much, just because I'm not listening to the game audio, I'm being able to, focus on my left screen on the anime or news or music. Um, because the two first mission feels more like a muscle memory than anything. Although perhaps if I listen to the game audio, perhaps I could be more focused. But it's a balance, right? Like being too much focused take a lot of energy and you get more tired. If you're less focused and focus on anything else, you are able to grind more. So it's a balance there, I suppose. In late game, obviously, I'm like focus, eyes on the prize. But I guess that's it for the present. For the future, I think I'm gonna continue doing this like I'm doing right now on the on before work. I usually do a stream, which I'm gonna do now. I'm streaming right now before work, and then after when I get home, I usually do another no reset run. And on the weekends, I'm grinding for that world record. It's gonna probably change a little bit for the future. I'm not gonna go private here or anything like that. This is just me talking about, I'm rambling on here, but I guess in the future I'm gonna have some changes, you changing jobs, stuff like that. So obviously the schedule isn't gonna be like this forever, but I know for the foreseeable future, I'm gonna keep up this schedule to some degree for the future. So I'm still gonna play Halo 5 Legendary a lot because I'm actually enjoying playing this game a lot, even though sometimes you might see me, tilt on about, oh, Vale, you didn't pick up that freaking Hydra. Like, why are Kelly and Frederick jumping off the gondola and die? Like, why? What are you doing? Um, then again, I'm not that upset. Perhaps I tilted once if I, uh, run on breaking dice of world record pace. Then I can, ramble on about why my teammates didn't, walk forward and, take the damage and stuff like that. But that's okay. That's okay. I keep enjoying it. And before I end off here, I want to mention two more things. When it comes to that about tilting, or rambling or being annoyed at the game, there's one word I don't use so much because I think it was toxic back when I used it. This is what before I. This is before the Road to Dethrone Hobo. I used the word RNG. I never actually, for those who watch me a lot and notices, I never say that anymore because I find that kind of weird to say, unless it's literally picking up, unless you literally picking up an any sort like, oh, we need this to be 80% or something, which you'd need. It's doesn't feel so much RNG as it feels like I'm playing this game and these AIs just supposed to behave like this. They are this bad, or something like that. So that's a weird. I usually don't use the word RNG, even though I can definitely when I'm talking about teammates jumping off the edge. I can say, oh, that's random. Perhaps you can fill in that word RNG, but I want usually, I want to paint that little tilt with different words like, oh, what a beast or something like that. It feels more enjoyable tilting like that and saying that word because that gets so used after a while. So it's like, I'm not saying I have a more high ground not saying it. It's just, I don't want to use that word. I'm use different word to blame, the game on going bad. And then I guess this is the final thing. To close off here, as I said, I'm probably going to continue playing Halo 5 until at least Halo 6. When Halo 6 comes out, I'm obviously going to play that. We're going to see if I get stuck there on Halo 6 or if I go back to Halo 5. Only time can tell. But until that, I'm going to play Halo 5. Okay.